In 2025, the Ukrainian Air Force stepped up its game, deploying its first squadron of F-16 fighter jets into combat operations. This wasn't just a show of military power. This marked a new phase in Ukraine's war with Russia, with the stakes higher than ever before. The F-16 jets aren't just powerful, they represent a major shift in the battlefield. Ukraine is not only defending its skies but actively targeting Russian assets with newfound precision. As tensions escalate, this air superiority could decide the course of the war. Why is this shift so significant? Because it signals Ukraine's growing capability to take the fight to Russia on its own terms. The F-16s could change the dynamics of the war, especially in contested regions like Donbas, where control of key areas like coal mines and steel plants holds immense economic and military value. But this is just the beginning. In this video, we'll dive deep into the evolving tactics of both sides, the critical role of Donbas, and how Ukraine's F-16s are playing a pivotal part in reshaping the battlefield. As Russia adjusts its missile strike tactics, the Ukrainian Air Force is becoming an increasingly formidable force in the skies. But what does this mean for the future of the war? Keep watching, because the twists and turns are just starting. Before we dive deeper into the battle for Donbas and the role of Ukraine's F-16s, make sure to subscribe and like this video for more in-depth world analysis. If you're passionate about the future of geopolitics and military strategy, hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. To understand the role of F-16s in Ukraine's defense, we need to go back to the very heart of this conflict, Donbas. This region has been the epicenter of Russia's military ambitions in Ukraine, with its vast industrial base and coal resources providing both strategic and economic value. Donbas is not just a geographic region, it's a critical economic engine for Ukraine. Before the war, it contributed a significant portion of Ukraine's coal and steel production. The loss of this area to Russian-backed separatists in 2014 marked a pivotal moment in the conflict. For Russia, Donbas isn't just about territory, it's about control over crucial resources that power the Ukrainian economy. By securing Donbas, Putin could undermine Ukraine's industrial capabilities, weakening its war effort and creating a foothold in Ukraine's heartland. But Ukraine has never given up on Donbas. The region remains a key objective for Ukrainian forces, and they are determined to reclaim it. As Russia entrenches its hold, Ukraine is adapting its strategy, beginning with the deployment of advanced weapons like the F-16. In August 2024, the first US-made F-16s arrived in Ukraine. These fighter jets have been a game-changer, offering advanced capabilities that Ukraine has never had before. Capable of intercepting Russian missiles and launching precision strikes, the F-16s are now central to Ukraine's air defense strategy. Ukraine's pilots quickly adapted to the F-16's advanced systems. In one of the first major operations, they intercepted a series of Russian cruise missiles, preventing them from reaching their targets in Ukrainian cities. Air superiority is crucial in modern warfare, and the F-16s have given Ukraine an edge over Russian forces. By controlling the skies, Ukraine can protect its cities, disrupt Russian supply lines, and launch devastating strikes on high-value targets. But even with the F-16s, the battle for Donbas remains fierce. Russian forces are digging in, and the terrain is proving challenging. But with these new capabilities, Ukraine is slowly turning the tide. As of early 2025, Ukraine has begun to fully integrate its F-16s into combat operations, targeting Russian positions across key battlegrounds, including Donbas and Crimea. These fighter jets are not only intercepting missiles, but are also striking Russian air defense systems and logistical hubs. In one of the first documented engagements, Ukrainian F-16s successfully intercepted Russian missiles headed for critical Ukrainian infrastructure. This marked a key moment in the war, as it showed that Ukraine could now defend itself against some of Russia's most advanced missile threats. The battle for Donbas continues to rage. With Russia deeply entrenched in the region, Ukrainian forces have ramped up their offensives, using F-16s to gain air superiority over Russian positions. These airstrikes have taken out several critical targets, including Russian artillery and command centers, giving Ukrainian troops a fighting chance. In response, Russia has adjusted its missile strike tactics. As Ukraine deploys F-16s, Russia has begun launching a barrage of precision-guided glide bombs and long-range missiles, hoping to take out Ukrainian air bases and reduce the F-16's effectiveness. However, Ukrainian forces have become adept at countering these strikes. The arrival of F-16s has had a profound psychological impact on both sides. For Ukraine, it's a morale boost, showing that the West is standing with them and that they can hold their ground. For Russia, it's a reminder that Ukraine's defense capabilities are no longer to be underestimated. In addition to intercepting missiles, Ukraine's F-16s have begun targeting Russian ground positions with unprecedented precision. These missions are not only aimed at military targets, but are also designed to weaken Russia's logistical capabilities, which are vital for sustaining their operations in Ukraine. The F-16's deployment is shifting the nature of air warfare in Ukraine. Russian jets are now operating at higher altitudes, avoiding direct confrontation with the more agile and advanced Ukrainian fighters. The skies above Donbas are no longer under Russian dominance, forcing the Kremlin to adapt its strategy. Ukraine's success with the F-16s is also due to better intelligence sharing from Western allies. Satellite images, drone footage, and real-time intelligence are giving Ukrainian pilots an edge, allowing them to strike Russian positions with remarkable accuracy. Ukraine has also made significant strides in taking down Russian air defense systems. Just recently, Ukrainian forces destroyed a Russian S-350 system, marking a major victory in reducing Russia's ability to defend against airstrikes. Beyond the military advantage, controlling Donbas is crucial for both Ukraine and Russia because of the region's vast coal and steel reserves. After the loss of key coal mines in Donbas, Ukraine is facing a dire economic situation, but the fight for this region continues. Ukraine's steel industry, once a cornerstone of its economy, has been severely impacted by the loss of critical mines and production facilities in Donbas. Yet, the country is pushing forward, seeking international support to rebuild its industrial base. Losing Donbas would have devastating effects on Ukraine's steel sector. The conflict has forced Ukraine to look abroad for resources and markets, but regaining control of Donbas remains essential for any long-term recovery of the nation's industrial heart. Donbas, however, is more than just an economic zone. It's a symbol of Ukrainian sovereignty. The region's residents, many of whom are ethnically Russian, have been caught in the crossfire of geopolitics, further complicating the region's future. Despite Russia's advances in air defense, the F-16s are proving capable of countering even the most sophisticated systems. As Ukraine continues to target Russian radars and missile sites, it becomes increasingly difficult for Russia to maintain control of the skies. The West has been unwavering in its support for Ukraine, providing not just the F-16s, but also sophisticated weaponry and intelligence. But will this support be enough to tip the scales in favor of Ukraine? Only time will tell. The integration of F-16s into Ukraine's air force marks a new phase in the war, one that could redefine the balance of power in the region. But as both sides escalate their efforts, the long-term outcome remains uncertain. While the F-16s have proven highly effective, air power alone is not enough to secure victory. Ground troops, artillery, and intelligence play just as vital a role in this ongoing conflict. Air defense continues to be a critical factor in the war. As both sides adjust their tactics, the ability to detect and neutralize enemy air defense systems is becoming as important as the airstrikes themselves. Drones have also played a pivotal role in this conflict, providing real-time intelligence and acting as force multipliers for both Ukrainian and Russian forces. The use of drones for surveillance and strike missions has become increasingly widespread. The war in Ukraine is not just about two nations fighting over a disputed region. It has global implications. The balance of power in Europe is at stake, with NATO countries closely watching the situation. Despite Russia's considerable military power, it has shown significant vulnerabilities throughout the war, especially in the air. The loss of key air defense systems and the challenge posed by Ukraine's newfound air superiority is a clear sign that Russia's dominance in the skies is eroding. Donbas remains the epicenter of the conflict, but after years of fighting, the situation has devolved into a protracted stalemate. Both sides suffer heavy casualties, but neither seems capable of achieving a decisive victory in the region. Ukraine's strategy with the F-16s is clear. Use air superiority to weaken Russian ground forces, target high-value military infrastructure, and increase the pressure on Russian command and control. However, the true effectiveness of these jets will depend on how well they can be integrated into Ukraine's overall defense strategy. Modern warfare is no longer just about brute force. The combination of advanced fighter jets like the F-16, drones, cyber warfare, and intelligence sharing has created a multidimensional battlefield. This complexity means that any one failure, whether a downed fighter or an intercepted missile, could have profound consequences for the entire war effort. In response to Ukraine's growing air capabilities, Russia is evolving its tactics. They're relying more on long-range missile strikes and heavy artillery bombardments to hit Ukrainian positions from a distance, while attempting to avoid direct aerial combat. The West has provided more than just weapons to Ukraine. The transfer of F-16s is a symbolic gesture of unwavering support. However, the success of Ukraine's air operations also depends on continued Western intelligence sharing, training, and military aid. Donbas has always been a contested region, not only for its strategic value, but for its cultural and political significance. The population here is split between those loyal to Russia and those who support Ukrainian sovereignty. This division has fueled the war's persistence and complexity. Losing Donbas coal mines is more than just an economic blow. It's a direct challenge to Ukraine's ability to sustain its war effort. The steel sector, which relies heavily on coal, is at the heart of the struggle. The war has forced Ukraine to explore alternative sources of energy and trade, but the loss of Donbas is a strategic and economic setback. The arrival of the F-16s in Ukrainian service is more than just a tactical advantage. It's a game-changer that has shifted the momentum in Ukraine's favor, at least in the air. With these jets, Ukraine now has a potent tool to target Russian air defense systems and missile launchers with far more precision than before. For Russia, Donbas is not just about territorial control. It's about securing strategic resources and preventing Ukraine from further consolidating its industrial power. With the loss of Donbas coal and steel resources, Russia may see a weakened Ukraine, a victory that they can't afford to let slip away. Ukraine's fight is not just its own. The support from NATO and the European Union has played a critical role in sustaining Ukraine's resistance. From advanced weapons systems to critical air power, Western aid has given Ukraine a fighting chance against one of the world's largest military powers. It's not just about the tanks and the planes. The unseen forces, like cyber warfare, economic sanctions, and information campaigns, have also played a crucial role in shaping this conflict. Russia has faced immense pressure on the global stage, from sanctions to diplomatic isolation, while Ukraine's alliances with the West continue to strengthen. The mainstream narrative often frames this conflict as a battle between two nations over land. But what's often missed is the larger geopolitical struggle, the fight for influence in Eastern Europe, the battle for energy security, and the global shift towards a new world order. While the West celebrates the arrival of F-16s in Ukraine, the reality on the ground is far more complicated. These jets might be a force multiplier, but they come with their own set of challenges, like the need for constant maintenance, pilot training, and integration into Ukraine's existing defense structure. Russia has consistently underestimated Ukraine's resilience. The Kremlin believed that its special military operation would quickly subdue the Ukrainian resistance. But what has unfolded is a prolonged and costly conflict, with Ukraine continuing to fight not just for land, but for its very sovereignty. While Russia presents itself as a victim of Western encroachment, the reality is that Ukraine has borne the brunt of this war. Its people have been displaced, its economy shattered, and its future uncertain. Yet, despite all of this, Ukraine remains defiant. Behind the headlines and military reports are the human stories, the soldiers, families, and civilians who have been forever changed by this conflict. While the world watches, the people of Ukraine face the consequences of decisions made far beyond their borders. A ceasefire could be an outcome, but what would it really mean? Would it be a genuine peace, or simply a pause before the next round of hostilities? A negotiated settlement is possible, but it would require both sides to make painful compromises. For Ukraine, that means possibly giving up control over contested regions. The war in Ukraine is no longer just a battle for territory. It's a conflict with global ramifications. From the F-16s providing Ukraine with much-needed air superiority to the continued shift in global power dynamics, this war will shape the future of Eastern Europe and the international order for years to come. But what's at stake here is far more than just the fate of Ukraine. The outcome of this war will define the future of NATO, the balance of power between East and West, and the global order in the 21st century. As the war continues to unfold, we have to ask, how will the world respond? Will Ukraine be able to repel Russian forces and preserve its sovereignty? Or will this conflict continue to reshape Europe and the global balance of power? What do you think about the future of Ukraine and the war in Donbas? Will the F-16s tip the scale in Ukraine's favor? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinion on what might come next. For more deep dives into global conflicts and world events, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't miss out on future analysis that dives into the stories that shape our world.